Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a book review video. This is kind of in combination with February and January because for January I read two books. They were two very lengthy books. One I'm not going to talk about because it was just like a textbook kind of book. But I'm going to get into it. I'm going to start out with the two books that I don't have with me because they were library books. My local library for February was doing this thing where if you read it was like blind date with a book where you don't know what kind of book you're going to get. Just has a little synopsis on the front of the book. It was wrapped in kind of like wrapping paper kind of. And then you could fill out a bookmarker saying if you love the book or not. And then you could enter it in for like a drawing to see if you won anything. So the first book I got was a book called The Nicest Couple. It was by Mary Kubica, Kubica. I don't know how to say her last name. And it was about these two couples where the one couple's having problems in their marriage and the husband goes missing, and the wife of the other couple, she got into an altercation with him. And basically, it was like a thriller book. It was really good. I hardly ever read thrillers. I think the only time I ever read a thriller is if I read James Patterson. I haven't read James Patterson in a very long time. I mean, I don't know if James Patterson is a thriller writer. I don't know if he's in that genre or if he's just in the detective mystery genre. I don't know. But it was a good book. There was a twist in it, and then there was another twist in it at the end, which was it kind of made you think a little bit about the ending. And there was this one character in the book where I kept thinking, okay, this is who did it, and that's why, because he was acting kind of funny. But it was a really good twist. I really liked the book. I would get that author again because her book, it was just really good. Now, the other book I got was called Confessions of a Shopaholic. They made this into a movie, I think it was in 2009 or something. It was by Sophie Kinsella. I guess that's how you say her last name. Again, I butcher people's last names, so I apologize if I'm saying these authors' names wrong. But it's about this girl, and this book was just okay to me. I never watched the movie, so I don't know if the movie and the book are similar in any way. It was about this girl who she overspends on her charge cards, her debit cards, her bank cards, all that kind of stuff. And here she has to pay the bank back, and she can't. So she's trying to come up with ways to figure out how she can come up with all this money. And it doesn't really work out for her. She's very desperate. She doesn't know what to do. She thinks she can go into hiding at her parents' house, that kind of thing. There really wasn't that much of a romance until the very end of the book, so I don't know why it was considered a romance kind of book. But that was it. So this book was the first book I read for the February books, and this book was okay. I thought it would be better. I wanted to read this. You know when you have a lot of books and you're like, oh, this is a book that I really, 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 really want to read, and then you read it and you're like, oh, it wasn't that great. I was gonna save this book for Halloween because the title is a Halloween title, but I'm glad I didn't because this book wasn't that great. It was called Tales of Terror and Suspense. It was edited by Stewart H. Benedict. This is what it looks like. There's 13 short stories in it. And some of the stories in this book, I don't understand how they were terror or suspenseful. They weren't there was maybe one or two in the book that were like that. The other ones weren't. Some of the stories too, I didn't understand how he got from point A to point B in it. But it was just an okay kind of book. Now, this book, I read this, well, not this book, it was in our literature book in high school. And I think it was when we read an excerpt from this book. We were in the 8th grade. And I think I remember we watched a movie about this book or something. I don't think we ever watched the whole movie. We never read this whole book either. So when I read it, I thought, oh, like, I'll remember some of the stuff. Like, I remember what the book was kind of about. But this book was called Flowers for Algernon. It's by Daniel Keyes. This is what it looks like. It's about this man who, he has a low IQ. He can't read. He can't write. He can do, like, simple tasks. And here they perform this operation on him. Now, this book was written a long time ago. I think it was, like, in the 60s, I want to say. Yeah, it was, like, 1966. And basically, it was about this man, like I said, who has low IQ. He got tested to see if he could be a part of this experiment. He was good for, he was able to get this operation done. And it was between him and this mouse who got the same operation. They basically, before the operation, were functioning the same kind of way where the mouse wasn't that smart. And here, what happened is whatever they did to his brain, because he did something to his brain, or they injected some stuff into his brain, something like that, it made him smarter, and it made him a genius. It made him surpass everybody he knew. It made him surpass even the doctors who were doing this experiment. And basically, somewhere, I think it was like maybe 2/3, maybe the last third of the book, where they figure out something was wrong. And this book was really, I don't want to say depressing, but it kind of was, about how this man was treated before he got this operation, and how he didn't really understand why people were laughing at him, or why his parents made him go away to some kind of home for people like him, that kind of thing. It was a really sad book. Like I said, I read this book an excerpt from this book like ages ago. And I think my friend told me what happened at the end, because we didn't read the end of the book. It's just like an excerpt in our like literature book. But it brought back nostalgia in a way, like, because I read it like however many years ago. So we're on the last 2 books. So this book is called The Clanlands Almanac by Sam Heughan and Graham Mctavish. Now, this is the 2 men from Outlander. This is what it looks like. Sam plays Jamie Fraser, and then Graham played Dougal Mackenzie. And this book is kind of like, I used to do, and I don't have any anymore because we haven't gone to book sales in a long time, but these DK Eyewitness guides that took you, like, around a specific place, and they told you, like, here's the places to eat, here's what you do in these kind of months. It kind of reminded me of that kind of book. And it was basically, it went through every single month. It gave you key dates of certain things that happened. And then at the end, it gave you, like, certain things that, like, happened in that month from different years in Scotland. Because that's what the book was about, Scotland. And I liked it. It did get kind of repetitive after a while, like, when you were reading it. There's no, like, chapter marks except for, like, when you started a new month. And it talked about, like, a clan in one of the every month, except, for, like, the last one. It talked about the nature. It talked about different things you can do. Castles that were in a specific place they talked about. It was a good book. I really liked it. And I think I'm going to keep this book just because I like Outlander. I know Outlander is, I don't know if it's done yet. I know that it's ending. I don't know if they played the second half of the last season yet. And I know they're going to make a prequel to Outlander, which I'm excited for. And last but not least is the book, the big tome that took me forever to read. It's the last book in, at least so far, it's the last book in the Outlander series. This is the 9th book. It's called Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone. It's by Diana Gabaldon. This is what it looks like. Basically, it takes place where Jamie and Claire are back on the ridge. They're rebuilding their house because their house caught on fire in the last book. And basically, Brianna and her family come back to the ridge because of what happened in the previous book. And they're basically trying to settle down while the Revolutionary War is still going on. There's a rift in the ridge between the Loyalists and the Patriots. And that's about it. And it was a good book. I really liked it. Like, this book, people think, oh, it's such a long book to get through. They're like over 1,000 some pages. But I liked it. It didn't, like, when I read those books, it doesn't ever seem like when I'm reading it that I look at the page number and I'm like, oh, I'm just on whatever page number, you know, like sometimes I look at the page number at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I got to like 100 pages, I read over 100 pages today, you know, that kind of thing. That was a good book. I really liked it. There does seem to me that there will be a second, or not a second book, a 10th book, because of how it ended with Lord John Grey. Something happened, on his storyline that never got resolved yet in this book. And I really like it. Now, I feel like, and I'm just going to say it, I don't know about you guys, but, well, the Revolutionary War isn't over yet. And I feel like before this wraps up, this whole series wraps up, I feel like there's going to come a time in this book where Lord John Grey and Jamie Fraser are going to have a showdown. And I mean because of the war going on. I'm not talking about because of their friendship or whatever, but I think it's going to come down to that. And I think that I don't know who would win in that fight or battle or whatever you want to call it, but I feel like that's what's going to happen in this book eventually. So that's about it. I'll see you guys next time with another book review video. It should be next month. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.